For something, I noticed recently sold platinum and palladium. Platinum was like, I don't know, it was a hell of a lot higher than it is now, that's for sure. And Palladium actually has been holding up pretty good, but I didn't sell any physical. I don't plan to sell any physical because, like, you always buy at a premium and you sell, below spot or at spot. Now, of course, if I can always buy below spot and sell above spot, I think I'd be trading a little bit of physical here and there too, but it's a hell of a lot easier to click a button. And you do know, common sense, when it's a hell of a lot easier to click a button, you're probably just selling electronic stuff. There's no physical back there as much as they say, They got it. I mean, they got it, but it ain't really like as solid as most people think. And I know people I'm talking to right now know a lot of it's probably paper, but, hey, you're still going to get your cash, your fiat toilet paper cash that actually buys real things, right? So I'm going to tell you this, though. I'm actually going a little bit, not totally by instinct, because I look at the charts and stuff, but I also notice a lot of times when news comes out very positive for a certain metal, and about the fundamentals, and all these people are talking about, like, platinum. They're talking about the miners are getting so screwed over, they're going to ruin the entire industry. You know what happened, like, less than a year ago. The miners were striking or getting machine gunned. And then they did an illegal strike, and they fired a whole bunch of, just had mass firing. So, how the hell is the mining industry going to keep up with demand down there in South Africa? It ain't, So fundamentally, platinum should be doing, like, super good. Now, it's pulling a little ahead of gold again, but I was fearful of a pullback, and, I guessed that right, so I sold platinum and palladium right at the right time. So I picked up another stock, I don't know, several days ago. It was this week. And then I sold it yesterday. It was a silver stock and a small miner. And, I had a gain on it, so I took the gain. It's probably going to be down today for all I know because silver's down. But I'm going to tell you this. Don't be afraid to buy some of the stuff electronically. This is where, you got to have some patience. Don't put all your money into physical silver. Don't be afraid of holding fiat cash. Because fiat cash can buy you something. Now, I don't like the stocks too much, to tell you the truth. I got a little bit of them, but hey, if silver goes up to like 50, 60 bucks an ounce, some of these stocks are going to go like ballistic, and I'll just dump them then, and I'll wait. Actually, what I think I might get into longer range is some of the hemp industry related type activities, whether it's medical or plastics or whatever it is. That's what I might be getting into longer range. But as of right now, I'm looking at basically two metals that might pull back, platinum and silver. And palladium just looks so damn strong fundamentally, I'm not going to mess with it, unless I see it pull back into the 600 range. Now, I expected platinum to, after it pulled back into 15 something, it was getting, I think it was 1550 or whatever the hell it was, I expected it to start bouncing back up again because it was getting too low. It was below the price of gold again. But I expected to pull back more from where it is again when the stock market possibly pulls back. And I don't think the stock market in general is going to pull back like hellaciously strong. I think it's going to pull back somewhat. The reason I say this, common sense. Who's behind keeping the stock markets up? The Federal Reserve. So, they're not going to let it go down like, it did in 1932 or something, it's down to 10% or something, or have a 40% drop even. It might have a 10 or 15% drop, but they'll step in. But I think when that happens, I think that's going to be bad for platinum. So, if platinum goes down below the price of gold, like, to like 98% the price of gold or 96%, it's going to be hard to pick the exact bottom, obviously. That would be a time to buy some of it, and I'll just buy some. I'm not going to go into it too heavy. I'm just going to buy a little bit. But if silver actually winds up touching 26 or something like that, I'm going to buy the PSLV. I'm not going to buy AGQ. I probably should because I don't feel like buying any more leverage stuff, to tell you the truth. It's dangerous. And if you're right, it's great. If you're wrong, you're screwed, Because actually, I'm still holding on double leverage oil from like a year ago. And that's getting slaughtered, I mean, I don't put all my money in it or nothing. But if there's something that happens in the Middle East, I'll actually wind up selling it at a gain. And I think it's just a matter of time before something does happen in the Middle East, and the tension, because oil is not going to just be a matter of when they close the Straits for Hormuz or something. There's going to be an attack on Saudi infrastructure, and the price is going to go. I'm laughing. The price is going to go ballistic. It's probably going to go to $150 to $200 a barrel or some shit like that. Maybe not stay there, but it's going to go ballistic. And if I'm down right now, triple leverage, you don't want to hold that shit very long. God, that's you'll get killed on that in short order. But double leverage, you can hold a long time if there's going to be a stellar gain. But that's waiting for an outside event. So that might play out too. But I plan to buy, just looking around and just being flexible. Either a stock in silver itself, probably the PSLV, or it could be the SLV. I don't give a shit because I'm going to dump it. And, the platinum, I think it's PTT or something. I forgot what it is. It's a platinum stock ticker I get sometimes. If platinum goes below the price of gold significantly, because I think the market's even tank about 10%, platinum's going to take a temporary dive, in face of all the fundamentals being so great. That's what might happen. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to go into something else. So, but I always keep my core holdings, and I'm thinking this year, maybe the year that I sell my core holdings, because the commodities might go through the roof this year, to tell you the truth. If there's a war with Iran, all the commodities are going to go up. Copper's going to go up and everything. And just a side note on copper, don't buy any copper bullion. God, that stuff is a ripoff. Man, if you look at the spot price of if you look at the spot price of silver, and you buy a silver round or whatever it is, or a coin, it's not much different, right? The spot price is copper, it's ridiculously off. I always tell people, and I haven't been getting them lately, is just to buy rolls of American U.S. minted nickels, because they're 75% copper, 25% nickel. And it costs them 11 cents to mint a nickel, and depending on the price of copper and nickel, usually they're running about at, the actual spot is what's in the coin itself, or maybe 10% higher. But if copper goes up a lot, dude, and it will due to a war, God, it could double and triple like mad. They're not going to. They're already thinking about in 2012, if the commodity prices were going to keep going, to stop minting those type of nickels. They're losing money on them. So, that's a pretty cool investment too. If you want to go invest in copper bullion, buy physical nickels. Don't buy bullion coins. God, what a ripoff. I kind of like the idea behind the physical nickels though, because if you're just going to be saving this for the long term, I know it's not going to give you any interest or anything like that, and nobody's going to pay extra money for them or nothing now, but you really don't lose your principal value, do you? It's a nickel's 5 cents, right? So, I mean, that's what's great about it. But, it's obviously, people are too much into the coins, don't realize that there's other things you could buy that produce income, I mean, God, a coffee grinder, man. Maybe you could get some beans and grind some coffee with it. But you know what I'm talking about. It doesn't, a machine can actually, a capital investment like a machine can actually produce money. But metals just sit there. And like I said, just to put the whole time frame, the whole thing into perspective, is that metals are something where people run into when they're fearful of everything falling apart in a financial system. That's really why you have them. And that's why Mark Farber's into over 25% physical gold. So that's probably a good bet, but not everything's going to fall apart in the financial system right away. And just watch for more pullback. Actually today, I think as I looked, platinum was going up. But look for more pullback in silver and platinum. And don't be afraid to buy, but don't be like waiting for insane pullbacks. Don't wait for platinum pullback to 1450 or something like that. Don't wait for silver to try to go down at 22. It ain't gonna go there. If it gets anywhere near 26, buy it up, and it may dip a little lower possibly, but I don't know if it's gonna get near 26. This is an if game. If it does, don't be afraid to act. Don't be afraid to say, oh, it's gonna go to 22, because that's a little crazy. And, you might have to wait. You might have to wait before you get a gain on that stuff. But It's I think something like that'll play out. So staying in some fiat cash is always a smart play too. So I'm waiting for some things to pull back a little harder. And if they don't, I'll look into something else. But if they don't, I still have core holdings that'll go up. And if it just keeps going like this, because at one point in time, where the metals markets is going to surprise you, it's going to break through the old traditional points, like silver was at 35, 37, whatever the hell it was. Gold was, at 1900. It's going to start breaking through those points, and you're going to be wondering where the hell is it going to go up to. But if you have your core holdings, that's when you start dumping that stuff and it hits record highs. And as far as the physical, I wouldn't dump any of that till, if gold went near 3,000, I'd be probably dumping a little bit of gold too. If gold went through 2,000 and it went well above that to 2,200, 2,400 or something, and had an incredibly, insane day sometime this year, I'd be dumping a little bit of that too. So, because you can't have gains that fast without having a pullback. That's the point. And if the system totally falls apart, they're going to do a lot of stuff with the bullion dealers that we're not going to be able to probably trade the stuff in that easy. So that's a little common sense. So my message is really for the few, because if I was actually preaching to a lot of people, I'd be screwing up the whole deal. What I'm actually telling you here is a little common sense, streetwise secrets, because I know what the hell they're going to do. They would tax the hell out of silver, platinum, gold, confiscate it. They do everything they possibly can. You wouldn't be allowed to have it. So if you get some insane gains on it, don't be afraid to dump some of the physical, because if it keeps going up insanely like this, the powers that be are going to put the clamp down on you. And you want to just say hey, I already sold it. That's what you want to tell them. And you got some fiat reserves. So play it smart.